Good morning and thank you for joining us. We drive over to see my brother and my mother. Now, we have come out of our town of Horwich on the west of the Pennines, on the west of the country. We've driven south about 10 miles, turned left, turned west onto the M62 motorway, and we're now on the M62 motorway climbing up the Pennine chain. The Pennine chain is a line of hills, a spine of hills that runs north to south down the country. We climb over that as we are doing now, and when we get to the top of this, we run along the top of it and then drop down into Yorkshire on the east of the country. And to our left now, on to our right, is Manchester, and to our left, as we've just entered Yorkshire, is Horwich, a few miles over on the remote moors, home of the Brontes, Jane, Emily and Charlotte, and Emily wrote Wuthering Heights. And this is the first year Molly and I haven't been and walked from Horwich over to Top Withins, Wuthering Heights. We're getting a bit, Molly's way too old for it now, and so am I. It's a boggy old, tough old walk. So we've gone across the top of the Pennines. We're on the top of the Pennines now. They're only low hills really, and there are villages, and it's up and down valleys, and we're starting to drop gradually now towards Leeds. Now, Leeds is a big city, like Manchester is on one side of the Pennines and Leeds is on the other side of the Pennines. And we get to Leeds, and then we actually come off this motorway and turn left, north, onto the M1 motorway. Now we travel up the M1 for quite a way, for about an hour. York is over to our right. York is a beautiful place if you've never been, full of Roman and Viking history. Absolutely gorgeous. And eventually we come off the M1 onto the A19, and the A19 is still travelling north up the country, and we have got the Cleveland Hills to our right, and as we turn, the Cleveland Hills have become right in front of us. And I'll try and zoom in a little bit, then you can see them. We're still quite a few miles away from them, and over the top of these fairly low hills, you go across the top of those, you drop down to the coast, and Whitby was a beautiful little fishing village. It was a fishing village until our fishing fleet was decimated, but Whitby is the site of Bram Stoker's Dracula, or part of the tale of Dracula. Whitby Abbey is featured in it, in the graveyard there, and it's where Count Dracula's boat crashes beaches, and he jumps off in the form of a black dog and blah blah blah. And he actually stayed in he rented a little property in Whitby to write the story. And then we turn north on the A172 towards my brother's little village of Stokesley, with the Cleveland Hills over to our right. So we've now been on the road about 2 hours, and we've just come off onto what's called the A172, which is the final little road that's leading to my brother's village, town of Stokesley. And to our right now, we can see the Cleveland Hills on our on our right instead of directly in front of us. So we went west. We have now turned north again. So we're running along the side of the Cleveland Hills, and the Cleveland Hills are between my brother's place in North Yorkshire and the North Yorkshire coast. So if you go over these hills, you will come to Whitby on the coast, which is where Bram Stoker based parts of Dracula. He actually stayed in Whitby. Whitby Abbey is described in the story, where the shipwreck is, and Dracula comes ashore in the guise of a black dog, I think, if I remember the story rightly. It's Sunday today, so we're going to get lots of cyclists. It's quite grey actually. It was sunny on our side of the Pennines, which is usually the other way around. It's usually miserable on our side, and then as you come over to the east, the sunshine is out. But it's quite leafy, it's quite wooded here. There aren't many leaves left on the trees. You may be able to see the Cleveland Hills rising up just to our right, immediately to our right. They aren't massive hills. We've got, like, as we come over, we've got the Pennine chain. We set off, went a bit south on the motorway, turned east, and went past Manchester, climbed over the Pennines chain, dropped down to Leeds in Yorkshire, turned north till we came to the A19, then we turned east again, and you could see the Cleveland Hills in front of us. Now we've turned north again for the last 3 or 4 miles of our journey, and these are low hills, and we have low hills. These are about the same size as the Howdens, which is on the edge of the Lake District, between the Lake District and Yorkshire. We have some quite mountain. It's only a very tiny island, ours, and so it's got this huge diversity of landscape. We have lots of lowland, but we also have the Lake District, the Peak District, North Yorkshire's, Moors, the Scottish Highlands. My favourite being the Lake District, Snowdonia, where the fairly impressive mountains are, and then you get down into Cornwall, and it's like the cliffs on the coast, and you get that in Wales as well, and in North Yorkshire there's a lot of very high cliffs. It's usually diverse landscape, and a very beautiful landscape it is too. In front of us, now I'll try and zoom into it, there's a hill there, and that's called Rosebery Topping, and it's very famous. There's a lot of photographers going. What it is, it was a hill, a rounded hill, and then at some point, I think there was quarrying on it a few hundred years ago, and at some point half of it has collapsed, so it's now like rises up to our right as you look, and then just drops away, and it drops away because it's actually collapsed, and it's a very popular place to go walking. I don't think my brother and his family go up there very often nowadays because it has become very, very popular. Don't know whether you can actually see, but we've got the Cleveland Hills rising up to our right in the east. Go over those, drop down, and as you're on top of them you can see the coast, you can see Scarborough, you can see Whitby in the distance, and you drop down and you're at the coast, and it is a very, very attractive coast. fields to our right, packed with sheep. It's very leafy and green in summer, very brown and gold at the moment. It's a lovely part of the country. And like I say, between here and home, we come across the Pennines, we come across the North York moors, the hills, all sorts of diverse landscape in this couple of hours it's taken us to actually come from home to here. And then we'll go to my brothers. They're away at the moment, they've gone out for the day, so we've made good time, so we won't go straight over to see my mum. We'll have a cup of tea and a sandwich and let Molly have a little bit of a wander around the garden and have a wee, and I'll give her something to eat. And then we'll walk. We'll walk. It probably takes half an hour to walk from my brother's to my mum's. It takes about 5 minutes in the car. It takes about a quarter of an hour. And then we'll sit with my mum for an hour or so, a couple of hours. Stokesley's coming up. We will be turning left very shortly into the village. So we're now entering the village. This is the old part. It has grown a bit in the last 20 years or so, but there are parts of it that are very, very, very pretty. This top end here is very pretty. It's got beautiful, beautiful buildings. It's old, and there's lots of these like 3-storey town centre buildings. Yeah, it is a very, very attractive little place. Lots of bars, lots of nice shops, lots of very posh shops, lots of very expensive shops, because it's one of those places, and it's got like a main street, and then to our right there's these buildings, and then behind that there's another main street, and it's old buildings. This is the old place. It's very, very attractive. The deli and kitchen, the truffled hog there. And we shall be turning now and getting to my brother's. So thank you for joining us on our little trip, and we shall see you sometime over the weekend, or just the early week, because we'll be here for a few days. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.